Well, the other day I was catching up on some of my emails after the holidays, and I saw this reoccurring theme. There was this long list of emails that said, "Thank you for your order." I place an order, and boxes magically appear at my front door. And when boxes pile up, Steve quotes Ricky Ricardo, and he goes, "Lucy, you have some explaining to do." And I thought, isn't this the way that the universe actually works? You put out your intention, and the universe says, "Thank you for your order. Your order will be sent shortly." Unless, of course, we mess it up with thoughts of or intents, the opposite of what we ordered. So we might have these intents of fear, maybe of concern or worry. One of my favorite stories that I completely made up years ago, so don't come after the service and go, "Was that a true story?" I made it up. I'm not going to tell you the truth. But it would lend itself to the new year, and the story is that of Tony and Rosanna Dana. So come along with me in your imagination as I tell you a story of great possibilities. Bottom line, when you place your order, the universe responds. So some years back, Rosanna Dana came to this church. And she was in Santa Barbara on business, visiting from Little Italy, San Diego. And after the service, she went up to one of our most fantastic prayer chaplains and asked for prayer. So Rosanna Dana said, "I need some prayer. I want a good man. I am so tired of being lonely, and I no longer want a loser or a cheater of a boyfriend. I don't like that kind of man." And the prayer chaplain put her hand up. I mean, these prayer chaplains, they know how to stop negativity. So she put her hand up, and she said, "Let's change this over to the positive, shall we? Jesus said that when you ask in prayer and believe, you will receive. If we ask in prayer today," she's telling Rosanna Dana, "if we ask in prayer today for your wonderful relationship, can you trust? And can you be a really good receiver if you want?" Oh, yes, I am ready for a good man." So Rosanna Dana and your prayer chaplain, they prayed. And then the prayer chaplain said, "Now, I would like to invite you to do what kind of can be difficult in the third dimensional world, and that is, can you just not try to figure it out? Try not to fix it. Try not to figure out the how this will come about. I invite you to approach this time with an open heart, open hands. This time is not about effort. It's about being in effortless receiving. Can you do that, Rosanna Dana?" "Oh, yes, I can be a good receiver." And so she gave her prayer request over to God and left this church feeling so mighty good. And the universe said, "Thank you for your order. Your order will be sent shortly." Now here's the deal, my friends. As soon as you give your request over to divine intelligence, it knows who, it knows what, and it knows when, and it knows how. Just like when I place an order online, I am not going to dictate how it's going to get to my house. I'm not going to tell them the directions. They know the directions. I'm not going to tell them which carrier to take. They know. And so divine intelligence knew the perfect person for Rosanna Dana. Now, that perfect person was Tony. Tony lived in Florence, Italy. Talk about a match made in heaven. But wait a minute. Rosanna Dana, she didn't live in Florence. She lived in Little Italy, San Diego. How was that ever going to happen? How were they ever going to meet? But God, with God's divine intelligence, there is always a way. Everything is effortless for the universe, and it doesn't even see obstacles. Take that in, my friends. The universe does not see obstacles. Where you see obstacles, the universe does not. So she's trusting. In fact, she is just acting as if the universe has already answered her prayer. She placed her order, and now she trusts that the order has been sent. She knows what she wants. She doesn't know how it will happen, but she knows that the universe will deliver. And she gets a call from a friend and says, "Girl," her friend says, "Girl, guess what? I've got some tickets to Cirque du Soleil in Las Vegas next month, and I have free passes to the after party with the cast. Do you want to go?" And Rosanna Dana said, "Oh, yes, I want to go." So meanwhile, an ocean away, Tony had also been praying for a relationship, but nothing was happening. So he just gave it over. He basically just said, "It's going to be what it's going to be." So essentially, he has given it over to God. So Tony's brother said, "Hey, Tony, my wife Lucia, she doesn't want to go to Las Vegas in America with me to go see our cousin Vinny. You know, cousin Vinny, he's been funding the Cirque du Soleil. You want to go with me?" Actually, this was a scheme because Tony's whole family conspired to get Tony out of his doldrums by getting him to see his cousin Vinny and the great show of Cirque du Soleil. And Tony said, "All right, I'll go." So the next thing we know, both Tony and Rosanna Dana, they show up in Las Vegas attending the after party and with the cast of Cirque du Soleil, and the place is crowded. I mean, it's just wall-to-wall people. And Tony and Rosanna Dana, they're just inches away from each other, but they never see each other. They don't notice. And so Tony went out to the balcony. He just had to get some fresh air. Plus, not everybody could understand his thick Italian accent. He felt out of place. And out on the balcony, there were carts displayed with desserts and fruits. And there was this one cart that had these display of apples in the shape of a pyramid. And so these apples displayed as a pyramid, it was just, oh, it was beautiful. And so Rosanna Dana, she walks out, she's famished, and she sees one of the apples, she picks one of the apples, and all of a sudden, the apples start falling down, and she flings herself over the apple cart, and she turns to Tony and she says, "Scusi, can you help me, please?" And he says, "You're Italian! You're Italian!" They started to speak Italian, and needless to say, sparks fly, laughter happens, smiles from ear to ear, instant love. They spend the next 3 days getting to know each other. They're texting their friends, "I met the person of my dreams. This is the person I'm going to marry." And a year later, they got married, and Tony moved to San Diego, and they lived happily ever after. That is how it works, my friends. That is how it works. This is how you and I have been creating miracles our entire lives. God, the universe, brings us our manifestations through the path of least resistance. And the path of least resistance isn't what's easiest for the universe. Remember, there is no limits on that end, because the possibilities are infinite and everything is effortless for the universe. Let's say this together. Everything is effortless for the universe, and its easiest way to get through is for you to allow. It is what is easiest for you to be as a conscious receiver. And so when Jesus says everything that you ask in prayer and believe, you will receive. Let's just dissect this for a moment, because everyone here knows how to ask, right? You have been the recipients of things that you have consciously and unconsciously have asked for. Our co-founder, Chuck Fillmore, said in his book, Jesus Christ Heals, prayer is not supplication or begging, but a simple asking for that which we know is waiting, like in your order cart, your shopping cart, that we know is waiting for us at the hands of our Father, and an affirmation of its existence, meaning that what you are seeking already exists. You know, when you place an order online, you know that thing already exists. It's exactly the same way. When you ask, all you are doing is being a welcoming presence for that thing that already exists into your reality. Everything that you ask in prayer and believe. Now here, believe means making our future dream, our prayer, a present day fact. It's called the law of assumption, assuming the feeling of your wish fulfilled. Believing means to act as if it is already in your life. And so when you are acting as if, you become that vibrational match that allows the universe to come through the path of least resistance. Remember, the job of the universe is to match your vibration. Thank you very much. Good Unity student, to match your vibration. Again, everything that you ask in prayer and believe, acting as if, you will receive. Now, let's dissect the word receive for a moment. We're going to spend a little bit more time on this because most people are not good receivers. Receive is a verb. It's an action word. It's an action step that one needs to take to be in a welcoming presence. When someone gives you a gift, you're in a receiving energy, right? I'm sure many of you practice this at Christmas time. When you received something, you were a receiving energy. With our prayers, we must trust that universal intelligence is the data bank in which we can tap into at any time that we like if we are good receivers, a welcoming presence. And here's the deal, listen carefully. As you are a good receiver, then the universe delivers manifestations in the form of insights, hunches, serendipitous coincidences. And now you also need to be a good receiver of these next steps. You need to follow through on these hunches and insights. Just like Tony and Rosanna Dana, they followed the next steps. The universe brings you together with just the right people at just the right time, and it may even maybe orchestrate a delay in traffic. And then you decide, oh, I should probably go get gas. And then you may have this strong, maybe overwhelming hunch to go and buy a lottery ticket, even though you never ever buy a lottery ticket. But this one day you decide, I'm going to buy a lottery ticket. And, well, you buy the winning ticket, which, by the way, actually happened to a really good friend of mine. She decided to pull away from traffic. She went in, got a lottery ticket for her grandparents' wedding anniversary, and they won millions. Yep, of which she has since inherited, so that was good. It was a good buy, good investment. But she got the hunch. She'd never bought a lottery ticket before. She got a hunch to buy a lottery ticket. Now notice how this entire process depends on you being a welcoming presence, receiving guidance, and listening to intuition and hunches. But what happens if you didn't listen? If you got upset, maybe about being in traffic, and then you're just a grouch, and you're just a vibrational match for things not going your way. Basically, You just missed a chance of being a receiver of a winning lottery ticket, except you don't know it. The process of consciously receiving the life that you want depends on your ability to pay attention to the signs that the universe is constantly giving you. I call them breadcrumbs, but it's actually called inspired action. Sometimes we're inspired to take some kind of action, like walking out on the balcony, and where you just meet the love of your life. So it's important that when you get a hunch, you follow through. So bottom line, inspired action, when you take an inspired action, it feels expanded. It feels good. Uninspired action is it just is resistance. It's contracted. Do you know the feeling of both of those? When I say expanded, you know what that feels like. When I say contracted, you know what that feels like. If you've ever tried Maggie's Fiesta salsa from Whole Foods, it's a fascinating story. She was one that continually acted on inspired action. She's the founder of the company. The founder of the company is Maggie Cook Garcia, and she grew up in an orphanage in Mexico. And Maggie immigrated to the United States on a college basketball scholarship, only to find herself homeless after college. But that never swayed her. She kept acting as if. She even went to the thrift store to buy not new clothes, but repurposed clothes to look as if she was a wealthy person. And then one day she got a lucky break, or an inspired action. She decided to enter into the state salsa competition, which opened the doors to live a life as an entrepreneur. And a friend of hers gave her $800, and that $800, with that $800, she started to sell salsa in the stores, and there was nothing like that at the time in any of the stores. Everything was fresh, it was handmade. With believing and allowing and being a good receiver, being a welcoming presence, her company made millions. And then in 2015, Campbell's bought her company for $231 million. Yes, from homeless to a multimillionaire. She did it with these very same principles of which she talks about in her book, Mindful Success. Just like Tony and Rosanna, Dana, the universe has the power to line up all the perfect components in order to easily bring you what you desire. And the universe follows the energy of least resistance. And the path of least resistance, my friends, remember, there are no limits on that end of the universe because the possibilities are infinite. And everything is effortless for the universe. And so the easiest way is allowing. It is the easiest way for you to be a conscious receiver. Having to do everything yourself. Having to fix it, having to find the how. How many of you try to find the hows? Anybody here? Yeah, exactly. In that, if you don't have to control the process because you don't have the resources. Just say that, I don't have the resources. Together? You don't. The universe has the resources. The universe has all the tools. You don't have the future picture. Why would you try to do God's job? Place your order, be a welcoming presence. You might just be amazed at where unseen opportunities lead you. As the universe says, thank you for your order. Your order will be shipped shortly. Can I get an amen? Yes. And so it is. And so it is. Thank you.